Welcome along to the EXFL Tier 2 Season 9 Japanese Grand Prix. We're here for round 4 out of 22 in this 9th instalment of Tier 2 on F124. We're heading into an 18-minute qualifying session around Suzuka, one of the most famous tracks in the world. Got 10 drivers at the moment who are going to do battle to see who gets pole position. We've currently had 3 different pole sitters so far this season. Hughes Morgan, who took pole in the opening round. Oren, who took a very surprising pole in Saudi. And then championship leader Seb, who took pole by, I think, just under 4/10 in Australia. And here they all come out, 4 cars onto the track. So we got Tom back in the McLaren after securing his 2nd career podium and his best career result of 2nd. Last time out in Australia, the Dutch Dojo. The Dutch Dodo back in the Red Bull. Obviously everyone will be scoring points today. Morgan, after a couple of races where I'm sure he would have wanted to get a few positions higher, I'm sure he can potentially bag another podium. We've got Horosia back in the Kick Sauber. Also, I'm sure will be up there. So I've had Seb, Oren, Morgan, Josh and Luigi. So 5 different pole sitters in a row, adding on to last season, 2. So yeah, Seb leads the World Championship by 21 points ahead of Gekabelg, who's unfortunately not racing today, who's a further 10 points in front of Morgan, who's joined with Ridian, who is not racing today as well because Game Pass, who's 2 points in front of Tom. So Tom, if he gets a podium today, moves up into 3rd in the standings, and if he outscores Morgan by 2 points, Tom moves up to 2nd in the standings. Behind Tom comes Frosty, who's not racing, Billy not racing, Sven in 8th on 12 points currently, so he's got a chance to gain some good points too. Then Horosia, 2 points behind him, and then Cow to round out the top 10. As heading into turn 1, we got the Red Bull followed by the Ferrari, both starting their lap kind of close to one another. But we'll look to Tom then, down into turn 1, sweeping right-hander as he climbs down the gears and climbs back up them. Then through the tilting S section is the first sector, the most technical part of the track. You can see him sliding there as he enters right then left. The climb up the hill, and then just a long tilt to the left, keeping it on the left-hand side. Flash it right as he finishes the first sector, 32.6. Such a difficult corner to navigate, the 2 right-handers, but he navigates it pretty well. Now heading into the hairpin, heavy braking, so easy to lock up. Good on exit, tidy lap so far for the McLaren driver. Morgan in front of him on an out lap. Now heading into Spoon Curve. On board will flick it left and keep it left. Not hugging the apex too much. Runs it nice. Now the long climb up the hill towards 130R. Morgan getting out of the way, as we'll see the Ferrari of Callum cross the line. Invalidated. What about Noah? He's invalidated as well. So Tom exits 130R into the chicane. Now just has to get the traction on exit, and this will be the first representative time then. It will be a 1 minute 29.9. To see what the rest can do. Morgan now sets off on his lap and hopes Tom will not get in his way and returns the favour. So into turn 1 then goes the Alpine. The McLaren is going to be a bit of an eyesore for the French team. The British driver in the car. Tom keeping his distance, but that's still going to create a bit of dirty air. Eggy, 32.7. I believe that's a tenth off what Tom did. Heading into the middle sector, 13.1. We'll see what Morgan can do. 32.1. So Morgan showing the pace at the moment. And Tom still keeping a bit of a gap there. Now heading into the hairpin then for the Alpine. We'll see what Eggy can do then across the line. Oh, 15 thousandths off Tom. Seb out on the medium compound tyres, doing his run now. So Morgan heads through Spoon. Tom's still not got out of his way. And if anything, might give Morgan a little bit of a slipstream heading up through into 130R. So we'll see what his split is. It was a 13.1. It's now an 11.9 compared to Eggy and Morgan. Morgan flying. Heading into the final few corners. Not exactly hitting the inside curve there. Will he take the shortest line? Yes, he will. Tom goes again. And Morgan, I didn't realise Tom went for another run. So Tom found another half a second, and then Morgan by half a second goes in front of him. Okay, fair enough. So Seb through Spoon Curve is on his run. There's Noah on an outlap, slides out of the hairpin. So I don't know if Eggy's going again or not. He is in. It is flashy. He's 8 thousandths up, so he might be. Let's see what Seb can do on the medium compound tyres. 12.8, so that's about 9 tenths off Morgan. Crosses the line. It's P3, but on the medium compound tyres. So it's not like Australia, where Seb on mediums has still put it first by quite a distance. It is the medium compound tyre that's put him 7 tenths off. So Morgan, at the moment, the star on his helmet, the star of the field at the moment. Callum on an outlap, Perosia just in front of him. Noah now beginning a lap. So we ride on board with the Red Bull. Climbing up to 200 mile an hour. Flicking it right. Sounds great through the corners, now through the rest of the S section. Anywhere between a 0.1 to a 0.6 seems competitive as he's right on the cusp there, loses the rear a little bit. And we'll see what his first sector split is, a 32.8, so he's a couple tenths off where he would want to be. Took the two right-handers pretty well into the hairpin then. Hear the deceleration as he climbs back up the gears now on the throttle. Seems like traction is going to be a bit of an issue for him, as we saw on his outlap through the exit of the hairpin. Now into Spoon then. As, Seb isn't going again, no. Eggy did improve, by the way, by about a tenth-ish. As we'll see Noah now climb to finish the second sector split. Callum in front of him about to start a run. Same with Hirosia. 13.0, so 1.1 off Morgan at the moment. So this could put Noah where he is at the moment and still 5th. Depends if he can find a little bit more time. Bit wide there. If he can match or beat Eggy, but across the line then, it'll be a 30.1 to put himself still 5th. As Hirosia embarks now on the mediums himself, as does Callum. Ben 94, forgot to mention, he has returned to Tier 2 after a season and a couple races this season in Tier 1. He did alright, but he was lacking pace and around a second off, so Tier 2 might suit him more. Oren locking up into the hairpin as he's on an outlap himself, as Tom down by 36 thousandths. Still on the same set of tyres, as he's now invalidated, so he'll just head into the pit lane there with just under half the session remaining now. As we see Hirosia into Spoon Curve, and Callum following him about 3 seconds off, as Nathan and Oren, the two Aston Martins. We've got 2 kicks, 2 Astons, 1 Ferrari, 1 Red Bull, 1 Merc, 1 RB, 1 McLaren, 1 Alpine. The top 4 still in the pit lane at the moment. Noah, I don't think he's going again. No, he's way off. So Rosier invalidates around the final corner. Callum keeps it validated. This might be the slowest lap time of the 6 so far, and it is. So Oren now embarks on his lap. So still a good time for Morgan there, but now Seb has put the softs on. We'll see who can extract the most with Tom in the mix. And it seems like these three are the main three for the podium at the moment. Oren finishes the first sector. You can't discount him as well after taking pole in Saudi. A 32.4. It's not too bad for him. A couple tenths off what Morgan did. But at the moment it could slide him onto the front 2 rows. Lock up into the hairpin. That's him and Callum, the only cars on track at the moment. Focus on with Oren, heading into Spoon Curve. As he now climbs up the hill, ascends to finish the second sector. It was an 11.9 for Morgan. It's a 12.5, so Oren's still lacking about half a second off. It'll be very close to see where he puts himself between him and Seb. Currently looking like the 4th quickest car. Rounds the final corner for the Aston Martin then. It will be a 1 minute 29.2 to put him on the front row. He did find enough time to put himself a 10th in front of Tom. So that's a good lap from Oren. Oren and Morgan, who were, what, 8th and 9th fighting at the end of Saudi, are currently the front row for the Japanese Grand Prix. With 6.5 minutes remaining then. Everyone's still in the pit lane, but out comes, I think, wait no, Noah. The Red Bull and RB, they look quite similar. So good lap for Oren, but it's still the same deficit that Seb had to Tom in Australia between Morgan and Oren at the moment. That is a good lap for Morgan. Obviously Tom was in front of him, which at some areas may have hindered him. Oh, as Noah has gone off there. But there was a little bit of slipstream there for Morgan. So I don't know if that will help and how much he can find. But yeah, Morgan at the moment looking strong. He took the opening pole of the season. Finished second that race due to strategy. Every race so far this season has been won on strategy, and every race has been won by either first or second. As here we go, out the pit lane come more drivers. Hiroshi now on the softs. Still waiting for Hiroshi, Nathan and Ben. Ben to even get out the pit lane to set a lap. As I think this will be Oren into the pit lane then, yep. 5 minutes remain. And it was a bit of a weird run for some of them because they were doing multiple laps instead of doing a lap, coming in, heading out, doing another run. If they want to save a set, it's an interesting way to go about it. See what Noah can do then. He needs to find about 3 tenths to put him in front of Eggy, and then another 3 tenths to put him in front of Seb. Callum exiting the pit lane too. Rosier, then Nathan. There's some big points on the board for these guys then. Noah heading into turn 1 then. Going very wide. But carries it on through the S section. Just trying to get to grips. You can see how much he's struggling. And he loses it. Tags the wall. Carries on. As we'll see Hiroshi there dive into turn 1. Takes a much better line than Noah. And now he'll flick it left, right again. You can see the trails of gravel left by the Red Bull. Hiroshi flies past them. Solid first sector so far for the Kick Sauber. It will be a 32.3 to put him in the mix as well. And at the moment it's currently good for the front row because it's quicker than Oren. Heading into the hairpin now. Nathan not too far behind either as Callum will begin his outlap. The top 5 still in the pit lane. Eggy now exits onto the track. As I think that's Noah gone again. Get out the way. of Horosia, hopefully. Which he does. Callum now begins his lap. Horosia will finish the second sector split. It's a 12.5, which still puts him roughly half a second off Morgan. So it's going to be close between where he slots in between Oren and Tom. Will this be the front row for Horosia, or will it be the second? It surely will be the top 5, but where in the top 5 for Horosia? Crosses the line. It's P3 to slot himself in between Oren and Tom. And with just under 2 and a bit minutes to go, unless he's fueled again, that might be his qualifying over. Morgan out on track then. Tom exits the garage and Seb in front of him as Nathan. A 36.3 may have been invalidated because there's no time on the board. And Ben now exits the pit lane then. This is his one chance left in qualifying to see what he can do. Oren's still in the pit lane. So he's going to be the last car out if he does come out. Can't see any Aston guys walking out. So the next car to cross the line will be spent. 2 minutes on the clock then. These are the last laps. And does Oren think that was all he could give? No, he's coming out the pit lane for one final time. Left it a little late, but he's got about maybe a 20-second deficit. 15 seconds now. It's going to be close. Oh, it's Callum. I think he's had a moment there. And that will be it. He's lost it before he even starts the lap. Or finishes the lap. Whatever the case, that's him done. And that will be P8 at best. Nathan currently on a run. Noah up by the slightest of margins. He needs to find a couple more tenths to beat Eggy. Across the line then for Noah. And he stays 7th. Doesn't improve by 1,000th. And crossing the line then is Morgan to start his final run. Hopefully Noah will get out of the way. Whereas AI does keep there. Seb going to start his run now. Oh! And then there's Callum. Nathan in then. Won't set a time. About Horosia into the pit lane. That's him done. Tom looks like he'll be one of the last to cross the line. Eggy's found a couple tenths in the first sector. It's a solid one. Morgan finishing the first sector. Has he found any more time? Finishes the first sector split. He's found over a tenth. Sliding out of the right-hand corner. He's pushing flat to the floor, making sure not to invalidate. What about Seb then? As he's about to finish the first sector. As Tom begins his lap. Seb, the championship leader. What's he got to challenge? He's found nearly half a second too. It's Seb versus Morgan at the moment. And maybe Tom. Oren will be the last car to cross the line. Callum disqualified. As Eggy goes up to the front row. Good lap from him. 3,000ths in front of Oren, who now starts his lap. Callum disqualified, he'll start 10th. Nathan promoted up to 8th. Ben, 32.4 in the first sector. So currently lacking a couple tenths. Morgan to finish the second sector. Down by nearly a tenth that he's lost in the middle. Oren's gone off, so third at best for him. Tom's found 2 tenths too, so it's Tom versus Seb versus Morgan. We'll see what Seb can do in the middle sector too. It's an 11.9. He's found the time too. He's matching Morgan, who crosses the line. Goes even quicker by 6,000ths. But will it be Morgan or will it be Seb on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix? Seb has got the time he needs, but is it enough for pole? Crosses the line. 28.9 to beat. It's a 28.5 for Seb by 3.5 tenths. Takes it away from Morgan. And now the only man to challenge Seb for pole is Tom. It's a 12.2. He's currently down by a few tenths, but he could get himself P3. Nathan and Ben, 8th and 9th. Ben crosses the line. It's P7 on return for him. So now it's just Tom left. And it should slot him into P3, but can he get the front row? No. And it's quite close, 700ths between Tom and Morgan. But Tom has to settle for third. Morgan second. Try as he might. Seb, back-to-back poles for the RB, and it's a similar margin. So Oren will start 5th, Eggy 4th. That's a great result for him. 3,000ths in front of the Aston Martin. Horosia 6th, Ben out qualified by his teammate. Noah 8th, Nathan 9th, and Callum will start 10th. But like I said last week, race pace compared to quali pace, very different. And time penalties around here, yeah, I guess they are kind of important. Obviously, a year ago, the pole sitter lost it right here and crashed out in the first few laps, so you never know. But yeah, Seb's taken pole again. Oren said he found a 10th.5 in the first sector, which could have put him in front of Eggy. But how much could he have found in the rest of the lap? Not too sure. If it could have challenged Tom. Anyway, there's the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. Morgan gave it a good run. He looked in control for a lot of the session. He did lose a 10th in the second sector and then lost a little bit more. So don't know how much he could have found. Dry race, it seems. And for a race when you want to be on pole, this is one of those races because it's just simply about the launch. It's not about breaking into turn 1 later, because it's more of a gradual lift than an actual break. Unless someone's on your inside. You can just hug the inside and get away well. You can maintain the lead. But we'll see what Morgan can do. Can he get a good enough start to get on Seb's inside? Can Tom get the pair of them? We'll wait and see. Everyone on mediums at the moment. There are some clouds, but it should stay sunny. I haven't heard anyone say rain or anything. So here we go then. When the lights go out, they actually go this time on this game. So here we go for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 4 of 22. We have Seb on the left, Morgan on the right. The 5 lights come on as the revs rise. And it's lights out and away we go. It's Seb versus Morgan off the line into turn 1. It seems like Seb has got a good enough start, but Morgan is challenging into turn 1. And Morgan takes the lead away from the RB. Morgan gets his Alpine into P1. Tom holds on to 3rd. Same with Eggy in 4th. Oren. And then the 2 Saubers as Noah tries around the outside, loses it as Callum is up into P8 already, but goes off instead as Nathan tries to get back to place. Morgan then, it was a good enough start to take away the lead from Seb. Tom slits in behind in 3rd. Eggy, then Oren, Horosia, Ben, Noah, Nathan is in front of Callum, who stays down in P10 then. And now it's up to Morgan to maintain the lead. The only swap was for the lead as they'll head on to the hairpin now. And everyone on the medium compound tyres apart from Callum on the hards. So we'll just leave it on penalties then. Morgan then leads from Seb, Tom, then Eggy, and I'm sure Seb, who didn't get the greatest start in Australia either and lost the lead, has 1 week later done the same thing, but it's 1 position less. And I'm sure just like Australia, he'll be keen to get back at Morgan. All 3 races so far decided on strategy, but it's also will and commitment and speed. And Seb has the speed, but doesn't quite have the grip and momentum to get close enough to Morgan for an overtake before the end of lap 1. So a bit of a DRS train all the way down to 8th here as Nathan and Callum struggle. Morgan finishes the first lap then, all on medium. Tom and Eggy on hot lap, and pulling out there is Noah. Don't know why, but yeah, into turn 1 then. Morgan still leads from Seb, Tom, Eggy, Oren, Horosia, Ben, Noah using overtake in a strange place. He's kept the overtake on in the S's. I think he's just trying to use everything he can to stick with these guys, to be honest, but that's not really where you want to use overtake. Look how wide he's going because of it. As we have a yellow, and it's for Callum at the back, unfortunately. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a quiet race for Nathan. And going off there into the gravel is Noah. So these 3 at the back really struggling. Noah needs to know he's left his battery on. As into the hairpin. No position changes, but there was a send as Callum struggles once more. So Seb still glued to the back of that Alpine sponsor. Tom just watching it all unfold at the moment, but no one's blasting a bunch of their battery. Maybe Oren a little bit. who's trying to get ahead of Eggy, as DRS is enabled, and Nathan gets ahead of Noah. So that's how much time he's lost. Callum, probably a third spin in about 30 seconds. As we finish lap 2, as the fight resumes on. Got 6 cars in the running as Ben's lost time to them. As here we go then, Seb taking the lead away from Morgan already with the DRS. Does Tom try it too? On the inside goes the McLaren. Morgan hangs it round the outside. Brilliant commitment on the brakes from Morgan. So he loses the lead to Seb, but maintains second to Tom. And now he's just got to try and keep with him. That was great stuff. As Eggy under pressure from Oren. Narosia sticking with Ben. Will hopefully try and close it. He may have made a mistake as Nathan and Noah look to fight. And it is still a DRS train for the top 6. You get them often in Tier 2, but not like this, I get. Usually a few break away. Not at the moment. They're keeping their ERS pretty well. Seb's got the lowest of the top 3. As Nathan and Noah battle for P8. Nathan gets ahead. And it's a 9/10 gap for Seb, who may try and blast the battery to get out of a second. But Morgan is using his to get back within. And same with Tom, and same with Eggy. And they're all blasting as Callum gets a 3-second. And round the outside, Hirosia's trying to have a go on Oren. Now switches, but goes onto the grass in doing so. He'll stay behind for now. And Seb is not a second clear yet of Morgan. So Morgan will have the DRS, same with Tom to keep with. But they won't activate the DRS for another 50 seconds. So luckily this is keeping Morgan, who's really confident on the brakes into turn 1, with the championship leader. And both him and Tom know they need to beat Seb today to not let him run away more. Eggy, who's just holding on to DRS with the top 3. With the 3 behind him. And Ben, 10th by 10th, closing the gap back to his teammate. 1.6 now down to 1.2. We have a yellow, and it's Noah. Oh, Seb goes off. We have a safety car. It's all happened in the last 10 seconds. So Noah gave up on track, or he crashed. No. So Callum spun. Noah actually crashed. And Seb went off. So the championship leader makes a mistake, loses 2 places. Or did Morgan hit him? I don't think he was close enough for that. So Morgan is back into the lead. Tom second. Seb drops down to 3rd. There's a safety car, and can they take hards to the end? Because everyone's on hards apart from, well, everyone's on mediums now. Brings Nathan back into it. Also, I've just noticed the clouds. It's getting a little more overcast. And if there's rain, we haven't had rain all season. So, obviously 2 being a night race in the desert. So, Seb says damn. So that must have been his own mistake. And it must have been close to the wall. As they're staying out are the leaders. Apart from Ben, he's going for a gamble. Nathan stays out. So well, Callum gained back to them. So it seems like Noah did crash on his own. He has been struggling in the S section. So he did crash out. I don't know if we can see any tyre marks. So either one of 2 things is happening. As there we go. Yeah, either 1 or 2 things is happening. 1, either they don't think hards can go to the end from here, which is fair, and they'll stretch out the mediums, maybe potentially medium soft, or just going longer. Or 2, there is rain on the way, and they want to make these mediums last to that, because it is getting a little overcast. But I'm so surprised no one said anything, unless they didn't know themselves. But Seb has work to do now, after making a mistake, losing 2 places fundamentally, right when the safety car came out. If it came out 10 seconds earlier, he would be in the lead and not make that mistake. So, yeah, interesting race so far. As Ben has pitted for the hards. So he'll be looking to go to the end. And it's just a surprise now. If we see rain, we see rain. If we don't, we don't. But I thought that was rain there for a sec. I'm sure Morgan will be happy. He was keeping with Seb anyway, so he has good race pace. So Bahrain, we didn't have anything. We didn't have any VSCs or safety cars. Saudi, we had one safety car. Australia, I don't think we didn't have anything either. So yes, no yes so far, because we had a safety car here. For Japan, what do the leaders do? Does Morgan bait? Yes, he does. But no one falls for it. That was a bait and a half from Morgan. They clearly know something we don't. Like, it looks cloudy, but in some aspects it looks bright. So is the rain coming? We don't know yet. Yeah, because I think it's a little too early for the hards to go to the end. If it happened on lap 7-ish, maybe. Callum still yet to catch the safety car, but it should probably be in this lap, as he will be able to catch it soon. Callum with a 3-second going off there. Everyone else with full batteries, apart from him. Oh, any fuel concerns too, out the window for all these lot. That's not going to be a case now. Morgan got a collision with Seb on lap 1. That might have been into turn 1, but that should be fine. Oren has a warning, Ben has a warning, Eggy has a warning. Seb has 2 warnings on lap 4. Interesting. Oh, and that's it. Okay. 2 on the same lap. Didn't see him go off, as Callum shocked. But yeah, Seb's 1 warning away now as Eggy tags him a little there. Yeah, so Seb's 1 warning away from a penalty. It's kind of copy and paste to last week. A little. Safety car in this lap then. Morgan will control the pace. Seb's got to be careful here as Eggy is ahead of Seb for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe it told him to overtake or something. I don't know. But Morgan gearing up now. We'll get ready to go. And he's waiting closer and closer to the line as he'll build up the revs. And now he'll go. Morgan then leads from Tom, Seb and Eggy nearly alongside, but stays behind Oren, then Erosia. Ben getting swarmed up by Nathan and Callum as we head into turn 1. Callum on the outside of Ben. Goes around the outside of Nathan too. Can he make the move stick? As Ben watches this unfold. Callum to the inside of Nathan. Callum gets the place on the Aston Martin, who's struggling now as Ben now is in front, as Callum is now under pressure from the Sauber, who goes around the outsides and makes the move stick. Brilliant moves in the first few corners of the restart in the back 3 as they all swap back to what I think they were before the restart began. Still says safety car in the top left, but I've noticed that is just a thing with the game. Morgan then leads from Tom, from Seb, from Eggy, Oren locking up into the hairpin, and then the 2 Saubers. Are they going to swap? Ben on newer rubber, but the slower compound. He can go to the end of the race if he wants, whereas the rest, they still have to make a pit stop, but if the rain's coming, which I still don't know if it is, it'll be interesting, because if these guys start pitting in 4 laps or so, or 5 or 6 for hards, then Ben is looking pretty good. Right then, Morgan, who has won 2 races, and they were back-to-back. They were his 2nd and 3rd race last season when he joined after Miami in Imola and Spain, I think. Yeah, Imola and Spain. So it's been quite a while since Morgan's actually won a race. It's been nearly about 20 races. But he's had a bunch of podiums, seconds and thirds. No, Tom has had literally a second and a third, and I'm sure he'd love to get the 3-2-1 in 3 races in a row. But he is struggling a bit, keeping with Morgan, but Seb is making him feel the pressure. Eggy sticking with, same with Oren, same with Rosier. Ben this time. Hopefully he'll be more determined not to lose the DRS. But any sort of battle in these top 7 places could lose DRS to the next person. Callum not actually losing too much time to the guys in front. Nathan is, however, struggling. On lap 8 of the Japanese Grand Prix, and a few unknowns yet to happen. It was very surprising that none of the top 6 decided to pit under safety car, considering they wouldn't have lost too much. And no penalties in the top 7, but Seb is on 2 warnings, so any more offs could give him that 3-second penalty like he got last week, but yet he's still converted it into victory because of strategy. As the top 3 get ever closer, and this could be Tom's chance now with a good exit and 24% battery, as well as Seb. Morgan's keeping it good, but Tom in the slipstream does use overtake. Is he close enough to Morgan to take the lead away from him? Down into turn 1, the Japanese Grand Prix, the top 2 fight it out, and Morgan, brilliant on the brakes again, hangs it round the outside to maintain the lead in front of the McLaren. Goes a bit deep there, and they're bunching up even more. As, Morgan still has plenty of battery to use. As, you can see how many attempts Tom's trying. And that allows Seb to close in on him too. The top 3 separated by half a second. Eggy and Oren still sticking with Horosia and Ben on the back of this train too. Callum, I said he was kind of doing well. He's lost 2 seconds now, unfortunately. 60, 40, 50, 60, 60, 100% battery for Horosia, as is nearly Ben, who's using a bit now. So the top 7 still in the DRS train. Tom looks an awful lot closer now, with an awful lot similar battery to the Alpine. Seb hot on his tail though, using battery, gaining in the slipstream of the McLaren. But the McLaren also has the slipstream from the Alpine. And will he try and move heading in to the chicane? He's on the outside of the Alpine, backs off to get the DRS. Seb backs off too. No collisions, which is great. And now it's Tom's chance. But again, look how much battery he uses. But this time it's all or nothing, as the McLaren looks to the inside, and Seb's going to try and make it 3 wide too. Tom covers that off. Morgan could lose 2 places here. Tom takes the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix, and Morgan does have to back out this time and drops from 1st to 3rd. Tom Jawbridge Davies leads the Japanese Grand Prix then into the S section. Eggy all over the back of Morgan, who seems to struggle the most at this section, but then gains it back. Callum, another penalty, as he's lost the place to Nathan. Tom then leads. It's Tom versus Seb. And if they were to finish like this, Tom would move up into 2nd in the standings, as the 2 Saubers have swapped. There's Ben on the hard rubber now. Looks to gain more places. Morgan, more battery than the front 2. Looks like this is carrying on then, and the overcast conditions remain as they are. Rain could come at any moment, we never know. We're not even halfway done yet, so you never know. And this fight brawling, Eggy just trying to hang on. Ben, looked like DRS there for some reason. Looked like his DRS opened. Kick me out of my party again. Right, here we go then, into the final few corners. Down the inside goes Morgan on Sebas, going across there. Eggy, and it looks like he got a penalty. Yes, he has. Morgan tried a little send on Seb. No contact. Eggy's in. Slows down into turn 1 then. Is there any change for the lead? Seb had made a mistake. Lost 2 positions, has gained it back. But Tom round the outside, trying to make what he did with Morgan. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the S section now. It's Tom versus Seb into the S section. Seb has to back off, and now bravery from the pair of them, and Tom prevails in P1. So Eggy did pit onto the hards and still comes out in front of Callum, who's left the session, as Ben and Erosia swap and then swap back to what they were. Whoa, that was close. Morgan tried it in the chicane on Seb, and then Seb tried it on the inside, and Tom, he couldn't exactly do what Morgan did and hang it fully around the outside, but he kept it into the first few corners. So you can just see how close they are on the exit of the hairpin. So, Eggy has pitted. He got a 3-second time penalty because he obviously went across. That may have been instant, because I didn't recall a warning for him in the first however many laps. So maybe he can get that removed. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. So it is a DRS train, but with the battles, can Eggy undercut? We saw how powerful it was last week. 35, 29, 75. Morgan has the potential here to get the pair of them, make it 3 wide. No sense this time. It's Oren and Ben and Erosia ready to strike as the top 2 come in, as does Oren. Making sure not to speed as Tom has sped. The leader of these 3 who came in. Tom can go to the end though. I don't really see how that could get removed though, unless he got hit by Seb into the pit lane. That just seems a bit like a mistake from Tom. And Tom's chances of winning the Japanese Grand Prix have just been put on halt now. He emerges. There's Seb, there's Oren, there's Eggy, and Oren has played the overcut right, because that's put him in front of the Mercedes now. And crucially, they've lost DRS to Seb. Oh, and Eggy's left now too. So Morgan, now accompanied by both Saubers. Ben 94, the big one to watch at the moment, has 2 victories to his name back a year ago in Season 7, when he won the British Grand Prix and the Qatar Grand Prix. He came runner-up in the standings. Hopefully that was Eggy. No, that was Callum. Yeah, you can see Ben has really fired the hards up. 7 laps on them. And we'll see what the top 3 do. And it looks like rain isn't a threat, so it just became overcast. Morgan comes in then. Doesn't speed. Same with Erosia. That's probably what the correct prediction was. Now, considering Oren overcut Eggy, yes, Eggy's now disconnected, unfortunately, as Seb is all over the back of Tom. Where is Morgan going to feed out compared to these 2? Oren, 3-second warning now. Pen now for corner cutting. Morgan exits the pit lane with Erosia. There's Tom and Seb coming down the straight. This is going to be close. Seb goes to the inside. Morgan is behind them still. Seb into the lead, but slides. And will he connect? Tom, no. Tom hangs it back around the outside. Seb slid, and it so looked like he was going in to the McLaren side, but he kept it away, and that has lost him a bit of time. But Tom, it seems like the outside line is still managing to hold on to the position every time. And that was a scary moment, second scary moment in the race for the RB of Seb. But Tom, unfortunately, with that 10-second time penalty, if there is a safety car towards the end, he probably could serve it for softs. But now, there is a 20-second gap. Hopefully Eggy should join now. He just asked for an invite. Yeah, there is a 20-second gap between Ben 94, who pitted under the safety car, to Tom. And it looks like it's getting a little sunnier. So Ben, as we have passed the halfway stage, the top, these 5, all within DRS. So unlucky for Eggy, who will not be in the DRS train. And a potential podium for him has been thrown away now. But yeah, here we go again then. 30 compared to 6%. Seb's still going to gain, but he's not close enough for a move this time round. Morgan and Oren trail behind. 20 seconds in 13, 14 laps. Yeah, Ben's tyres will be falling off a bit. It's 7 laps difference. And I'm really surprised only Ben, of all of them, pitted under that safety car. Because it's a gamble. If you're in a DRS train of 7 people, if you're the 6th or 7th car, there's no guarantee you're going to win. Yeah, you might gain a few on track and a few because of pens, but it's not always the case. And look, they're not even gaining massively into that gap. It's keeping how it is. Ben 94 struggling on pace this game. Now just has to worry about keeping the gap. And with Tom with a 10-second at the forefront, it's a speeding pen. It's not a 5-second anymore, it's a 10-second. That's so much more drastic. And again, strategy has been won. Strategy has been the key factor to winning every race so far this season, and Ben 94 has played the strategy at the moment. It's looking good his way, but it's all down to him if he decides to pit again. Is that in the strategy for him to pit back onto mediums? As Seb does get that 3rd warning, and now it looks good for Morgan. As Seb does pull out, goes to the inside and clears Tom easily this time. As Oren's all over the back of Morgan. Going into turn 1, it's Oren versus Morgan. Morgan hangs it around the outside, has to make sure he doesn't hit Tom, but Oren's still there on the outside. But Morgan gains on Oren, who loses the rear a little bit, slight contact, but it looks all fine. And Morgan hangs on to P4. Yeah, they're gaining on they're gaining on Ben, which is understandable and obvious, but it's not, again, drastic. And Ben literally just has to coast. A VSC right now would help him. A VSC right now, he could pit and maybe stay in front. Seb in front of Tom, who's struggling now. Tom has to make sure Seb doesn't run away with it. Seb using all his battery, flashing there. Tom with about 3 tons more than it, as Callum's retired in the pit lane. So then there were 8. And Tom will keep in the DRS of Seb, who's once again just got less battery than the people behind him. And Erosia as well has just kept on the back of these guys. So unfortunate for Eggy. Thought he'd join back by now. He did ask for an invite. And it's all down to Ben then. No mistakes. Constant pace as Erosia gets past Oren. Did Oren make a mistake there? Whatever the case, Erosia is now in front, but losing a second to Morgan, who goes to the inside of Tom, and this time round gets into P3. Nearly gets Seb there. As the top 3 have broken away from the 2 behind them, but Erosia's pushing, and now it's exactly a second. And it's up to if these guys hold one another up. Crazy. I love how as more the race has progressed on, more watching. So yeah, because it's quite an interesting one compared considering how many there are. So yeah, Ben 19 seconds now in front of Seb. At this rate, they aren't going to catch Ben. But Ben put those tyres on lap 4, 5. And it is a wonder if he'll make it to the end. I really hope he doesn't come into the pits again. I really want to see if he can maintain this to the end, because this would be quite a race comeback for him. Yeah, he didn't have the pace in qualifying to challenge for pole on his return to Tier 2. Yeah, he may have not had the pace at times in Tier 1 either, but he's come back to Tier 2 with a great strategy, and he's still got that commitment. And now it's Morgan's turn, who's not blasting his battery. He's just going to stay in the slip and use that enough to go to the inside. Can Seb hang it around the outside? No. He's going to stay behind for now as Oren gets in front of Erosia. And it's close to DRS, but Erosia now comes back around the outside, and it's close to contact. Erosia doesn't leave Oren much to play with, and Erosia and Oren maintain themselves until Oren loses it. And Rosier losing more time to the guys in front, and eventually there was going to be some kind of collision. Rosier who squeezed Oren a couple times. Oren who got onto the grass, I think, that made him lose momentum. And Nathan's soon going to close up to Eggy. So, yeah, out of the 7 drivers who were in that DRS train, one's 19 seconds ahead, one's disconnected, one's been spun, one has lost time because of the spin, and it doesn't seem like he'll be able to catch back these guys. He should stay within 10 seconds of Tom. 3 seconds of Seb, not likely. But at the moment, it's looking like Morgan will beat both of them, as long as he just keeps it cool, because he's the one without any pens. So he can afford to not do anything too risky. Yeah, we have 10 laps to go, and they're not eating massively into the lead that Ben has. Seb has DRS. He'll go to the inside, use a bit more overtake to fully put his car in front of Morgan. See, very close fast lap between Morgan and Tom. I think Seb set his when he was in the DRS of Tom. Switch the tyres real quick. Yeah, 7 to 8 laps older are Ben's tyres to the leaders. And it has brightened up. So it went from sunny, well, all right, to overcast to back to sunny. So it looked like at one stage there was going to be rain because none of them decided to pit under safety car. But now we know it's the thought that they didn't think the hards could go to the end. And so all the data and thoughts are into this man, who's going to prove what the right strategy call was. And at the moment, what he chose is the right one. The battle continues then. Seb versus Morgan versus Tom. And if it really was all Tom's... Never mind, we'll come back to that as Morgan versus Seb into the chicane. Seb hangs it round. Morgan gets in front. And Morgan, smartly, that's what he tried to do earlier, has got the DRS. Now can use his battery. And Tom is flying past Seb. Can Tom fly past Morgan as well? Into turn 1, the McLaren versus the Alpine. Morgan is once again going to hang it around the outside. And he does once again do that to stay in front of Tom, and Seb now dropped both places to these guys. So smart from Morgan. You overtake into the chicane, you get the DRS because the detection point is just on the exit of 130R, as you can see by that yellow dot. I think don't see where it would be anywhere else unless there's an actual white line. It might be the white line actually into the chicane. It's in between there. So that's what Morgan tried to do, and yeah, pretty good from him. They can work together, obviously, to close in on Ben with the DRS, but they are going to be battling too. Rosier's not losing too much time to them. But yeah, Morgan just has to keep it cool. He can, like I said, afford to lose track position to these two and still beat them. But I'm sure he'll be wanting to gain on Ben. 17 seconds, though. It's all in Ben's hands now. Surely he doesn't pit. And surely he'll go to the end. But that's what I was saying. If Tom got that 10-second fully on his own, as Seb goes deep there. If Tom got that 10-second fully on his own, he's going to be kicking himself. But if he did get nudged forward, whatever the case, I don't really know if that can get removed. That rarely happens, as Tom isn't close enough to Morgan this time to make a move. It's all in those tyres right there, all 4 of them. If they can maintain, as you can see Ben sliding out, I do wonder if those tyres are fine, like they'll easily make it to the end because the wear is so low, or are they struggling a lot? We're going to see the gap go down more and more per lap because of how much the wear affects his driving. But they've only gained 4 seconds from that 20-second gap it was. And at the moment, it's just a battle of who is going to get on the podium and who's not. Horosia still sticking within that 3-second gap of Seb, and obviously 10-second gap of Tom. So Horosia could find himself on the podium, and a double Sauber podium would be quite something. Ben, who joined Tier 2 today, got instantly promoted because Scott said, or Vortex, whatever, said, put me down as reserve. So Ben joined. It looked like a good swap, and at the moment, he's proven that to be right. Ben94 did the first 2 races for Aston Martin as a reserve, and then did the rest of the season, the other 18 races, at Mercedes. Ferrari engine in the Kick Sauber on return. As the 3 stay how they are, Horosia's now lost more time. Seb all over the back of Tom. And yeah, they 100% are not going to catch Ben. And it all is in Ben's hands now. So we've lost Noah, who caused the safety car. Callum, who retired in the pit lane. Eggy, who unfortunately disconnected after his stop. Quickly message him. As Seb, mistake there. Can't find him. As yeah, Seb has lost out a bit now to Tom and Morgan. Tom round the outside now of the Alpine. Backs off. Seb with a lot less battery than these two. Tom's now going to use a bit of his overtake. And Tom's going to try now clear himself in front of the Alpine. Seb nearly a second behind these two. Tom gets into second. And the win at the moment could have gone to any one of the top guys. Maybe not Eggy, because he probably would have disconnected, but any of the top 6 could have pitted under that safety car and be in Ben's position. But it was only Ben to do it, and look at the reward it's given him. Just over 5 laps to go then. Tom, with that 10-second, will drop him down to, I think, 5th. Seb might hang on to the podium as down the inside, Morgan, at a place we haven't seen the top 3 fight yet, is fighting away with Tom, but Tom hangs it around the outside, gets better momentum. It's getting more serious, the battle now. They're trying at places they haven't all race, and Tom keeps in P2 for now as Morgan all over the back of the McLaren driver. Seb watching this unfold, still with less battery than Morgan and Seb. Morgan gaining into 130. Are we going to see a move? No, he's going to hang back for now. But will he try into the chicane and get the DRS? There's the line. So that is the yellow dot with a big old DRS sign. Don't know how I missed that. But anyway, great exit for Morgan, who's all over the back of Tom. He may have had to lift a little, but now it should be clear that Morgan is going to get in front. But Seb's in the slipstream of Tom as well as Morgan. And can Seb try and get one or the pair? He's going to the inside of Tom, who's maybe going to try and hang it around the outside, but no. Seb gets in front, so Tom drops from 2nd down to 4th. 15 seconds. They've only gained a quarter of the gap to Ben. As I'm still trying to help Eggy get back in. Oh, there he is. Right, there we go, right. Really unfortunate for Eggy. There we go, he's back. So, good race for Aston at the moment. Nathan will get a P7. Yeah, it's been a bit of a quiet race for him, but still, I'm sure he'll be happy with the points. Morgan, Seb, and Tom. Well, we know what the top two will be at the moment. It'll be Ben and then Morgan. Please don't pit. It'll be Ben, then Morgan. And third will either be Seb or Rosier. It's going to be close. If they battle a lot, Rosier might just get back within. This is Seb and Morgan. Fight on exit. As the gap got under a tenth there. Seb has the DRS. Going to blast what he has left of his battery. Morgan has plenty to use. But he's going to sit behind for now. But Tom isn't waiting. He's going to go to the inside. Can he get the pair of them to the inside as Seb hangs around the outside? Tom loses it. Slight contact into Seb. That was nearly a double overtake for the McLaren, who has to sit in the middle. As Seb does get in front of Morgan, who drops down to fourth, but he's got plenty of battery. As does Tom, to be fair. And Seb is just going to do his best to save it now. I think they know the win is out of the question now. The only way one of them's going to win is if Ben either gets a puncture on one of those tyres or makes a mistake. But he's been faultless throughout his hard compound stint. He was the last car of the 7-car train and actually dropped out of DRS before the safety car. He slowly gained it back, and slowly is he gaining back his momentum, his will to win. It's been a while since his last victory, a season and a half nearly. But now he's just got 3 laps to go as he embarks on what would be a great third win as Tom and Seb fight. Tom gets back up into second, and Morgan round the outside of Seb can't quite make the move stick. It's been a great battle all race between these three. So we have 3 laps to go to decide who's going to beat who on track and who's going to beat each other in the end. Morgan gets the slip and gets the pair of them. Look at that. No contest when Morgan has, oh my God, look how much battery he burned. From 100 nearly down to 20. Now they're all kind of similar, but yet Morgan still has enough. And Tom, he knows unless that 10 seconds somehow gets removed, he's going to finish 5th here. The thing with Rosier and Oren, I don't think Rosier really deserves a pen. I think Oren just kind of lost it. But that is only after viewing it once. Then 94 coming up to Eggy, who he may as well pit maybe. Oh, he has pitted on the softs to go for fastest lap. Yeah, go on then, Eggy. He could back off enough, be behind Ben, get DRS, and then unlap himself to get more of a chance of getting fastest lap. But he embarks now, as does Ben, to start the penultimate lap. As these three have been the main battle of the race. All thought it was going to be for the top 3 positions. It's all going to be for one less than that. Seb all over the back of Morgan. He's going to use his DRS and battery to be in the slipstream of the Alpine. Go to the inside. Can he get ahead into turn 1? They're wheel to wheel. Morgan hangs it round the outside. Seb breaks later and will try and force Morgan, but he gives him the room, and they're going to go wheel to wheel through the S section, and Morgan gets in front of Seb, who backs off. Keeping it clean, keeping it cool, keeping it calm, and keeping themselves facing forward. Try as they might, they've only gained 7 seconds. Maybe 8 or 9 by the end of the race. Now, repeated again, any of the top 6 could have won this if they decided to do what Ben did under the safety car. As Oren looks like he's going to now go for fastest lap attempt to try and take away from Eggy. Oren and Eggy have been quite similar on race pace. As yeah, such a shame for Eggy, who like he did say, actually had the pace today. But his time will come. He's getting back into the groove of it. 15.8 middle sector for Ben. I'm actually curious to see what Morgan's doing. As there it is, fastest lap. 15.8, Morgan 15.1. Ben then starts the final lap of the Japanese Grand Prix. An unbelievable drive, a brilliant stint. 23 laps on hard compound tyres. He pitted on the lap 4 safety car. And this time round, Morgan seems like he's far enough in front of Seb, who's under pressure from Tom, who's got the battery to put himself into P3 on track. And Morgan did hang on. He played his placement wise with his battery and holds on. But this battle will go all the way to the end at 130R. As Horosia, it's going to be close between him and Seb as well. At the moment, Horosia is going to get this. But Seb, I'm sure, will have slipstream, but it depends if he battles. He knows Horosia could potentially beat him here. Oren will be looking to get fastest lap, as I think he's about to start it now. Nathan will get 7th, Eggy 8th. But here we go then. Ben 94 on return from Tier 1 to Tier 2. Needed to find more ground, and I'm sure this won't put him straight back in Tier 1, because obviously it, again, for the 4th race in a row, the winner will be decided on strategy, but nothing away from him. It's been a brilliant drive to keep those tyres intact, and for one final time through 130R, you are witnessing Ben 94 pull off a brilliant stint, a brilliant strategy, a brilliant race for Kick Sauber, and it's a real kick on debut for Ben 94, who rounds the final corner. He brilliantly wins the Japanese Grand Prix. Behind him, Morgan, Seb and Tom will follow. Morgan will take P2. Tom will drop down to P5. And can Seb hold on to the podium? It looks like he will. It is P3 for Seb. Erosia missed out by about half a second. Oh no, half a second. As Tom, unfortunately with that speeding pen, finishes 5th. What a brilliant drive from Ben. A brilliant split-second decision to give him the win. They didn't even half the gap he had after the stops. Oren going for fastest lap, trying to take it away from Eggy. A 30.8 is the time to beat. And he'll come across the line. Will he get it? It's going to be close. Oh, he does, by a 10.5 over. Oren takes away fastest lap from Eggy. Nathan will come home for one of his better results, P7, and Eggy unfortunately 8th. But Ben 94, bravo. Right, so that was Ben first, Morgan second, Seb third, and if nothing changes, Seb has also broken the record for most career podiums. He now goes in front of Logan and Josh on 25 to Logan and Josh is 24. And that is Seb's, what, 6th podium in a row? One short off the record for most podiums in a row. So Seb, the ever Mr. Consistent at the moment, the most experienced driver, still extends his lead over some, but Morgan closes it a little. Horosia saying to his teammate, 23 laps on hard, it's not possible. But Ben made it possible. And if it can kindly show us the race result with 20 seconds remaining. Come on. Really? Well, great. Oh, no. Well, we got it for a split second. I'm going to have fun screenshotting that. Anyway, let's get the top 3 in. Ben. Where's Tom? Tom. Seb.
Audio was included.
Hello, mate.
Yo.
Nice. We'll just wait for the other two to join. There's Seb, and we'll just wait for Tom. Let's go to the showroom, F1 cars, and we'll present the brilliant Kick Sauber for a brilliant driver with a brilliant strategy today. We'll wait. We'll just wait for Tom to join. But anyway, well, Tom can join in a minute. But anyway, we'll start off. Ben94, what a return and what a strategy gamble from you. Lap 4, you were the only one of the top guys to pit for hards to go to the end. It went from, sunny-ish to overcast, back to sunny. So I and a bunch of others didn't know if it was going to rain or what they were trying to do, but you made the right call, and what a brilliant win on return. How did that feel for you?
It feels like absolute nonsense because I was nowhere near fastest. I did notice in the first sector I was faster because I had more downforce, and in the straight I was losing a lot. And safety car came out and was like, you know what, I'm gonna change the tires so I can keep up with them, and then go on to fresher tires near the end. And then I saw my tire and I was like, I can easily make this to the end, and I don't know why it worked. But I was, I think, 60%, 65 as the highest tire, and well, I managed the gap, and that was it. I did the whole way through until when I noticed I shouldn't have to stop anymore. I was like, what? How does this work? Why does this work? So yeah, that.
Oh wait, it's not Tom on the podium, it's Morgan. Why am I thinking Tom?
Well, he did finish second, but he had a penalty.
That 10, yeah. So I'll get Morgan in. My bad. But anyway, yeah, brilliant race from you, mate. And what a race on return. As you take the full 25 points on your debut for your new team.
Thank you, thank you.
You really lived up to the hashtag unleashed on the back of your car.
So, apparently.
Yeah, there was a 7-car train. You actually did lose DRS to the top 6 before the safety car came out, but lap by lap you slowly gained a couple tenths to be back in it. And yeah, you said you've struggled on pace, qualifying, etc., but I'm sure that will be a big boost for the races coming forward for you now.
Yeah, definitely. But that's I want to know how I stack up to the other drivers on pure pace, not on strategy, because I really thought those tires were gonna die off on lap 21. Like I would slide all over the place and have to switch to the softs, but
yep,
they made it.
So round 1, it was because I guess someone made a mistake to the 2-stop. Round 2, someone went late into the race, pit for softs, won. Round 3, the undercut, and round 4 today, pitting under the safety car. So 4 different ways, 4 different strategies have all been the winning way to win a race in Tier 2 Season 9. What is next? Oh, China's next. Tier 2 returns to China for the first time in a few years. But yeah, well done, Ben, on the win. Brilliant drive. And we'll move on to our P2 man. Brilliant battles and drive today, Morgan. Are you there, mate?
I am.
Let me just quickly switch to Alpine. Yeah, brilliant drive today. You kept clean of warnings or penalties. Brilliant on the brakes, I must say, into turn 1 and 2. But yeah, just how was your race?
It was alright, you know. I completely forgot that Ben was leading by about 20 years. And so I don't think we could have caught him, if I'm honest. So I was like, might as well just race my own race as Seb and Tom had penalties. So I just did what I did, stayed in, make sure I stayed on track limits, and yeah, just happy with the P2 if I'm honest.
Yep, you easily had the best ERS management, and it was that good that by the end they didn't even put up a bit of a fight on the last lap. You managed to stay in front, come home for P2, equaling your best result of the season. So apart from Ben, you are the only one to gain into Seb's lead, but it's still early doors, and yeah, well done on another podium. It is getting close to nearly a season now. You've been in EXFL when you made your debut. I think next race actually does mark a season. So I'm sure that next win is coming for you. Ben obviously got his 3rd win today, and I'm sure a 3rd win is coming for you as well. So very well done.
Thank you.
Moving on to P3 then. Seb, by just under 3/10, gets the podium. So that's what? His 6th in a row, and he breaks the record for most career podiums now. He's 25th in front of Josh and Logan on 24. So yeah, well done, Seb. How was the race for you today?
How the fuck I didn't DNF, I do not fucking know.
Yeah, what happened at what's the bit? You go under the bridge.
God, so me, obviously, I'm talking to Logan. I'm like, I can pull a gap, and me being the egotistical prick that I am, I've gone. I'm just gonna send it. I've sent it. Next thing I know, I'm in the gravel.
Yep.
Next thing I know.
How close were you to the wall?
Oh God, fucking pixels. How I didn't get some wing
shit.
damage, I do not know. And then did you see
Crazy.
the lap after I pit? I went down the inside of Tom.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
was
you
fucking
slid.
sideways.
Yeah. How you didn't run into Tom though? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. I do not know.
It was crazy. There was a slight bit of contact. I think another lap where I think your rear and either Tom or Morgan's front had a little bit of contact. But besides that, great battle. Your ERS management wasn't as good as Tom and Morgan, but you still kept it
Yeah,
far enough in front of Herosia.
barely.
Yeah, by what, 2 and a bit tenths?
Yeah,
So yeah,
something little.
P3. Can I just ask what happened, like with your POV of when you entered the pit lane with Tom? How he got that penalty?
Just sped.
Oh, he just sped.
Well, that's
Because
what
apparently he was under it and the game still gave it him.
that's what it looked
So,
like to me. It just.
I was trying to theorize, like, have you pushed him into it, or
No.
is he just? Yeah,
I
fair enough
was
then.
quite far away behind him.
Ah, okay, good. I was gonna say I don't think it's very rare we get a driver push someone forward so they speed, but yeah, luckily that wasn't the case. So yeah, well done, Seb, on another P3, extending your lead by quite a few points to some drivers. Well done, Morgan, on gaining on Seb and getting a great P2. Started second, finished second. So yeah, consistent. And well done, Ben, on a brilliant strategy to win on return. And we'll see what lies in store for you all as EXFL returns to China in 1 week's time.